For many years, humans have dreamed of exploring distant planets, worlds untouched and filled with wonders beyond imagination. Yet right here on Earth, there are landscapes so extraordinary that they feel like stepping onto another planet. From the rivers of glowing red lava flowing from Fagradalsfjall volcano, to the shimmering rainbow waters of Grand Prismatic Spring, and the endless white dunes stretching across Lensois Maranhenses, dotted with crystal blue lagoons. Each of these landscapes feels like stepping onto an entirely different planet. These places are not just destinations, they are reminders that our planet still holds countless secrets waiting to be discovered. Join us as we embark on this journey to witness these unbelievable wonders with your own eyes. Trolltunga. A narrow rock shelf juts boldly over the fjord, a daring outcrop that seems to float above the valley and invites you to conquer it. Perched roughly 2,300 feet above Ringedalsvatnet, the ledge opens a breathtaking panorama that stretches from the distant mountains down to the sparkling waters below. From this vantage, the cliffs and valleys reveal themselves in a vast, unbroken sweep, each angle more dramatic than the last. Standing here, the wind whips across the face of the rock, heightening every sense and reminding you how high above the world you truly are. The drop is immense, and the ledge demands focus and respect, yet it offers an exhilarating feeling unlike any other. From edge to horizon, the fjord, lake, and valley stretch out in all directions, a living painting of raw and untamed beauty. The view is both humbling and empowering, giving the quiet pride of having reached a place that few ever see firsthand. Trolltunga is more than a rock formation. It is a monument to daring, endurance, and the unforgettable joy of standing on the edge of the extraordinary. Avenue of the Baobabs. Along a dusty road in western Madagascar, a natural corridor rises where giant baobab trees stand like ancient guardians of the land. Some reach nearly 100 feet in height, with trunks more than 30 feet across, their grey pillars towering above the flat countryside. Stripped of leaves for much of the year, the baobabs create a stark yet graceful skyline, unlike any forest on Earth. Locals call them the trees of life, storing water in their massive trunks and providing shade in a harsh climate. At sunrise and sunset, the red glow of the sky turns the avenue into a scene that feels timeless, where silhouettes stretch across the earth. Travelers often walk the dirt roads slowly, pausing to take photographs or simply to stand beneath these giants in quiet awe. Though unprotected by national park status, the avenue remains one of Madagascar's most iconic landscapes, a living monument shaped by both nature and time. Fagradalsfjall volcano. At first glance, the blackened ridges of the Reykjanes Peninsula seemed calm. Yet beneath them, a fiery heartbeat was waiting to return. In March of 2021, after more than 8 centuries of silence, Fagradalsfjall volcano awakened with an eruption that reshaped Iceland's landscape. Molten rivers of basalt streamed for months, eventually covering nearly 6 square miles and creating scenes that looked borrowed from another world. The lava fountains rose dozens of feet high, glowing orange against the night sky like restless torches, marking the planet's raw power. Scientists noted how the eruption offered a rare window into Earth's crust, a place where magma reached the surface with startling clarity. Winds carried the sharp scent of sulfur across valleys, reminding visitors that creation often arrives hand in hand with destruction. In moments like these, it feels less like sightseeing and more like standing on the edge of Earth's living story. Grand Prismatic Spring. From above, the spring spreads like a perfect circle pressed into the earth, its surface shimmering with bands of color blurred by rising steam. At the center, deep blue water stretches outward, where heat from the underground source keeps life sparse and reflects the sky with startling clarity. Around this core, gradients of green shift to yellow and then to bright orange, each layer painted by microbial mats that thrive in precise temperature zones. The The spring spans more than 300 feet across and nearly 160 feet deep, making it the largest hot spring of its kind in the United States. Temperatures at the heart reach beyond 160 degrees Fahrenheit, enough to shape the surrounding mats and minerals into vivid patterns. Scientists study these extremophile microbes to understand not only survival here, but also what early life might have looked like on Earth. The name Grand Prismatic first appeared in the 19th century, chosen by survey teams astonished by colors they had never seen harmonized so perfectly. From the wooden boardwalk, details soften into drifting vapor, but a short climb reveals the full rainbow circle spread below. It remains one of Yellowstone's most iconic sights, a living canvas shaped by temperature, mineral waters, and the passage of time. Pamukkale. From above, the terraces fan out like frozen waterfalls pressed into the hillside, their brilliant white steps catching the sun and throwing back a soft, radiant glow. Water slips over each rim in pale turquoise sheets, carving shallow pools that glimmer as minerals settle and the light bends on their surfaces. Steam rises in gentle veils from the warm basins, softening edges and giving the whole slope an otherworldly, almost painterly haze. Each terrace catches daylight differently, shifting from a silvery cool in the morning to a warm, sunlit gold by late afternoon. These formations grew slowly over millennia as mineral-rich springs laid down calcium carbonate, building the stepped terraces one delicate layer at a time. Walking the rim, the path is smooth and slippery underfoot, and pools of varying depth reflect the sky like scattered gems. Pause and let the shimmering surfaces settle into your memory. Visitors can take hot air balloon rides to drift above the terraces, gaining a sweeping panoramic view as colorful balloons cast moving shadows on the brilliant white below. Perched at the summit, the ruins of Hierapolis watch over the terraces, an ancient city that once welcomed bathers seeking healing from the curative waters. Pamukkale remains one of Turkey's most arresting sights, a living tapestry of white travertine and turquoise pools threaded through with history.
Jellyfish Lake.
quiet lake rests within limestone walls, its emerald green surface reflecting the sky and setting the scene for an otherworldly corner of Palau. The surrounding cliffs rise steep and solid, sealing the lake off from the open sea, while hidden currents sustain a delicate ecosystem. Millions of golden jellyfish drift slowly through the water, their translucent bodies glowing like floating lanterns. Their constant movement fills the lake with a silent rhythm, turning the water into a living, shifting tapestry. In the clear depths, visitors can immerse themselves fully, gliding among countless jellyfish as if taking part in an ancient ritual beneath the surface. The encounter feels less like adventure and more like belonging, where human presence blends into the natural flow. What makes this lake extraordinary is its safety, as the jellyfish here have lost their ability to sting after thousands of years of isolation. Jellyfish Lake stands as both a rare natural wonder and a reminder of how isolation can shape life into something entirely unique. Lençóis Maranhenses. Beneath the bright sky of Maranhão, vast dunes of white sand roll endlessly, their curved ridges resembling giant sheets folded across the land. During the rainy months, countless turquoise and emerald lagoons emerge between the dunes, transforming the arid plain into a living mosaic of water and sand. This rare balance creates a landscape where a desert cradles freshwater pools, inviting travelers to pause and take in the unlikely harmony. From June to September, the lagoons reach their fullest, offering a fleeting chance to swim or bathe in waters hidden deep within the dunes. As the dry season returns, the pools slowly fade, leaving behind shifting sand forms reshaped daily by wind and passing storms. Now protected within Lençóis Maranhenses National Park, the area remains one of Brazil's most extraordinary natural preserves. The name Lençóis, meaning bed sheets, reflects the vision of endless white dunes draped across the horizon like fabric left to dry in the sun. Great Barrier Reef. Beneath the sparkling surface of the Coral Sea, the Great Barrier Reef stretches over 1,000 miles, a living mosaic of color and life unlike anywhere else on Earth. Countless coral formations rise from the ocean floor, their intricate shapes and vivid hues creating a labyrinth that teems with tropical fish, sea turtles, and rays. Schools of fish weave through coral canopies in a silent dance, while the sunlight penetrates deep, revealing layers of vibrant life below. Visitors can dive or snorkel among these underwater gardens, gliding past delicate corals without disturbing a single creature. From above, the reef reveals its full scale, a patchwork of reefs and islands that seems to stretch endlessly toward the horizon. The water remains warm and clear, inviting exploration and offering glimpses of hidden marine life in every lagoon and channel. Protected as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the reef faces challenges from climate change, yet careful conservation helps sustain its fragile beauty. The Great Barrier Reef stands as a living testament to the ocean's wonders, where each swim or flight uncovers layers of color, movement, and life that feel almost otherworldly. Manpupuna rock formations. Rising abruptly from the Siberian highlands, the Manupuna rock formations stand like ancient sentinels carved by time, their towering shapes piercing the sky. Each pillar boasts a unique silhouette, some resembling spires, cones, or pyramids, hinting at stories whispered through the ages. Formed over millions of years by wind and water eroding sandstone and granite, these natural sculptures reveal the patient artistry of nature. Surrounded by vast taiga forests and open plains, the formations seem almost otherworldly, a stark contrast to the quiet wilderness around them. Visitors can trek to the base or climb nearby hills, discovering ever-changing perspectives that transform with the shifting light of day. Legends of gods and ancient warriors linger here, giving the Manupuna pillars an aura of mystery that captures the imagination long after you leave. Hookah Falls.
A narrow gorge
funnels the Waikato River into a roaring cascade where turquoise water surges forward with unstoppable force and crashes into a churning pool. The falls thunder with a sound that fills the valley, each surge throwing up mist that lingers in the air like drifting smoke. Foam rises white against the black volcanic rock, while the river twists below in restless currents that never seem to pause. From above, the water gleams in shifting shades of blue, a surface both dazzling and dangerous in its constant motion. The cliffs that frame the torrent are dark and sharp, their edges shaped by centuries of unrelenting flow. Around them, green forest softens the scene, leaves trembling each time the spray sweeps through the trees. For the Maori, this was once a place of power, its ceaseless energy tied to stories of strength and survival. Today, walkways and viewpoints bring visitors close, where the roar beneath their feet becomes an unforgettable encounter. Visitors can experience the thrill of jet boats racing upstream, drawing them close enough to feel the raw power and mist of the falls. The lasting image is not just water falling, but a living force that seems to breathe with the land itself. Dead Sea. Lying deep within the Jordan Rift Valley, the Dead Sea forms a vast basin more than 1,400 feet below sea level, the lowest point on land anywhere in the world. Its waters hold an extraordinary concentration of minerals, nearly 30% salinity, creating a density so high that visitors can effortlessly float on the surface. The shoreline is marked by salt-encrusted rocks and gleaming white deposits that glisten in the sun, giving the place a surreal and timeless appearance. Mineral-rich mud from the banks has been valued for centuries, used in ancient rituals, and still sought today for its therapeutic properties. The lake stretches for over 30 miles in length, covering around 234 square miles, though it continues to shrink each decade as inflows decline. Summer temperatures can reach 102 degrees Fahrenheit, warming the water into a natural bath unlike anywhere else on Earth. Historically, the region is linked to biblical accounts and trade routes, making it a place where natural wonder and human story overlap. For travelers, the experience is simple yet unforgettable. Leaning back on the buoyant surface, staring at open sky, and sensing a silence that has lasted for ages.
Angkor Wat. Rising from the forests of Cambodia,
Angkor Wat stands as one of the most enduring testaments to human devotion and vision. It was built in the early 12th century under the Khmer Empire, during a time when the region flourished as a center of power and culture. The temple complex was dedicated to both divine worship and royal authority, reflecting the union of spirituality and governance. Its sheer scale marked it as one of the largest religious monuments in the world, surpassing most structures of its era in ambition. Over centuries, it remained a focal point of Khmer civilization, representing the height of their artistic and architectural achievement. As time passed, the empire declined, yet the monument endured, a silent reminder of a kingdom that once shaped Southeast Asia. Rediscovery by later travelers and scholars in the 19th century brought Angkor Wat back into the world's awareness. Since then, it has been recognized not only as a historical treasure, but also as a symbol of Cambodia's national identity. Visitors come from around the world, drawn by its vast corridors and timeless aura of mystery. Today, Angkor Wat remains both a place of worship and a global icon, linking the present to the legacy of a powerful past.
Meteora. Rising above the plains of central Greece,
Meteora is a dramatic complex of sandstone pillars that have stood for millions of years. Atop these towering formations, monasteries were built beginning in the 14th century, creating one of the most remarkable religious sites in Europe. The name Meteora means suspended in the air, a reflection of how the structures appear to float between Earth and sky. At its height, more than 24 monasteries existed, serving as centers of faith, learning, and refuge during times of conflict. Today, only a handful remain active, but they continue to preserve traditions that link the present with centuries of devotion. The combination of natural geology and human architecture has earned Meteora recognition as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Visitors often describe the landscape as a place where nature and spirituality merge, with stone and silence forming a single canvas. Meteora endures as a symbol of resilience, faith, and the ability of people to find sanctuary in the most improbable of settings.
Ants source d'argent. On the island of La Digue in the Seychelles, Ants source d'argent is often described as one of the world's most photographed beaches. The shoreline is marked by massive granite boulders, their smooth shapes shaped by centuries of wind and tide. Between these formations lie stretches of fine white sand, creating a striking contrast against the turquoise waters of the Indian Ocean. Shallow lagoons protected by coral reefs make the waters calm, adding to the reputation of the beach as a natural swimming pool. The scene has been used in countless films, advertisements, and travel magazines, securing its place in global imagination. Local communities have long valued the area, not only for its beauty, but also as part of the island's heritage and daily life. Over time, the balance between tourism and preservation has become a defining challenge as thousands of visitors arrive each year. Despite this, Ants source d'argent has retained a sense of authenticity, its scenery remaining much as it has for generations. The boulders, sand, and sea combine to form a landscape that feels sculpted rather than accidental. Today, the beach stands as both a symbol of the Seychelles and a reminder of how nature can craft enduring works of art.
Angel Falls. Hidden in the heart of Canaima National Park in Venezuela, Angel Falls holds the record as the tallest uninterrupted waterfall on Earth. Its waters plunge from the summit of Auyan Tepui, one of the massive table mountains that define the landscape of the Guyana highlands. The sheer drop measures more than 3,000 feet, a scale that makes the falls both imposing and difficult to fully comprehend. Long before international recognition, the site was known and revered by indigenous people who regarded the plateau as part of their ancestral world. In the 20th century, aviator Jimmy Angel flew his small plane over the falls, and his name has been tied to the landmark ever since. The surrounding park is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, protecting not only the waterfall, but also vast areas of rainforest and rare species. Seasonal rains alter the appearance of the cascade, sometimes sending a roaring torrent, and other times creating a thin ribbon that fades into mist. For explorers and geographers, the falls became an emblem of the Tepuis, these flat-topped mountains that rise like islands in the sky. Writers and filmmakers later used its image as inspiration, reinforcing its reputation as one of Earth's ultimate natural wonders. Today, Angel Falls is not only a point of pride for Venezuela, but also a global symbol of the power and endurance of untamed nature.
Giant's Causeway. Rising from the northern coast of County Antrim, the Giant's Causeway unfolds as a natural staircase of more than 40,000 basalt columns, pressed tightly together like pieces of a massive puzzle. These hexagonal pillars, some climbing nearly 40 feet high, were born around 60 million years ago when molten lava cooled and cracked into perfect geometric shapes. From a distance, the formation looks almost designed, a pathway stretching from the cliffs into the restless waters of the Atlantic Ocean. Standing among them, visitors often feel as though they are walking on the remnants of an ancient temple, sculpted by nature itself. Legends say the stones were laid by the giant Finn McCool, building a bridge towards Scotland before retreating beneath the sea. The site's cultural and geological significance was recognized in 1986 when it became a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Around the main causeway, dramatic cliffs rise above the shoreline, and waves crash endlessly against the dark rock. Exploring here means more than just seeing the stones. You can climb over the columns, trace the steps upward, and feel the Atlantic spray close at hand. It remains one of the most striking landscapes in Europe, where science and myth meet in a single breathtaking setting. Mount Everest. Mount Everest stands at the crest of the Himalayas, long regarded as the highest natural boundary where the Earth seems to meet the sky. For centuries, it remained distant and unnamed in the outside world, though it held deep meaning in the traditions of the people living beneath its shadow. It later became a marker in geography and exploration, drawing attention as a place that symbolized the limits of human reach. The mountain's presence shaped the history of Himalayan communities, influencing trade routes, cultural exchanges, and spiritual practices across the region. Its slopes, often hidden in storms, carried the weight of myth as much as science, turning the peak into a symbol beyond physical geography. Climbers eventually sought to reach its summit, transforming it into a stage of endurance and ambition recognized worldwide. Yet beyond the challenges of ascent, Everest remained a point of reverence, reminding all who approached of nature's scale and authority. Today it stands not only as the tallest peak, but as a silent witness to centuries of human fascination with the world's highest places.
Sigiriya Rock.
Sigiriya Rock rises like a vast stone monument above the Central Plains, a place where natural form and human ambition once merged into a seat of power. Throughout the centuries, it has been regarded not only as a fortress, but also as a stage of kingship, ambition, and shifting dynasties that marked Sri Lanka's history. Legends weave through its past, giving the rock a dual identity of recorded fact and enduring myth, making it stand apart as more than just a geological feature. Its elevation symbolized protection and dominance, while its presence shaped the cultural memory of the communities that lived in its shadow. Generations have looked to Sigiriya as a symbol of resilience, each era layering its own meaning onto the great rock. Traces of ancient structures remain at the summit, speaking quietly of a time when artistry and authority were inseparable in the making of monuments. The surrounding area, often treated as sacred, holds centuries of ritual significance, adding a spiritual layer to its political and cultural past. Today, Sigiriya stands as a timeless landmark, not confined to one story, but carrying the weight of many ages within its silent stone. A long ribbon of coast stretches forward with sand so bright it seems untouched, curving in broad arcs as it meets the calm waters of the bay. The shoreline shifts gently with the tide, where streaks of pale blue and green move into the white surface like patterns painted by slow-moving hands. From the air, the scene unfolds as sweeping layers, each band of water and sand appearing carefully arranged, though shaped only by time and waves. Shallow depths reflect the light, and as the water recedes, new designs emerge quietly, changing the beach without ever disturbing its harmony. Across the horizon, the coast runs in near silence, with no heavy marks of use, giving the impression of a place held apart. The scene carries a sense of stillness, where the open stretch feels more like a resting canvas than a working shore.
Visitors often describe the softness underfoot, where every step sinks lightly into grains, so fine they drift with the wind. From distance, the entire beach seems to blur into sea and sky, a seamless space painted in pale tones that shift with the day. Franz Josef Land. Franz Josef Land is an Arctic archipelago located far to the north of Russia, remote and largely inaccessible to regular travel. It comprises 190 islands, most permanently ice-covered, with only a handful of seasonal landing sites used for scientific access. The group was first recorded in 1873 by an Austro-Hungarian expedition led by Julius Payer and Karl Weiprecht during early searches toward the North Pole. In the decades that followed, explorers and navvies used the islands as staging points and bases during the heroic age of polar exploration. Throughout the 20th century, the archipelago assumed strategic and scientific importance under Soviet administration, hosting meteorological stations and polar research teams. Today, the islands are administered by the Russian Federation, with access tightly controlled for conservation, research, and occasional guided expeditions. Seasonal research outposts monitor sea ice, wildlife, and climate indicators that help scientists understand rapid environmental change across the Arctic. Franz Josef Land remains a potent symbol of the high Arctic, remote, historically charged, and a frontline witness to the planet's shifting polar environment. Reykjadalur Hot Springs. A wide valley opens between gentle slopes, with light steam rising from the ground, giving the landscape a quiet and slightly hidden presence. The warm stream follows a natural path, winding across pale green meadows and stretching like a silver line toward the distant horizon. Thick moss and soft grass cover the damp earth, broken here and there by dark rocks that set a balanced contrast across the valley. Heat escapes unevenly from the ground, forming faint mist in some places and heavier clouds that blur the view in others. The The water shifts in appearance as it flows, sometimes clear enough to mirror the sky, other times milky as it blends with the drifting steam. Along the valley sides, patches of soil and scattered shrubs outline the open ground, giving it a simple but layered structure. The land bends and rises in turns, making the hot stream reappear unexpectedly as it curves behind natural ridges. The air carries both the coolness of the surrounding mountains and the warmth of the geothermal springs, a rare contrast found in few places. The valley stands as a space between mountain and river, where each element supports the other without breaking the calm order. Reykjadalur Hot Springs is often seen as a unique part of Iceland, where land, climate, and underground forces quietly shape one scene.
Mount Roraima. At the border where Venezuela, Brazil, and Guyana meet,
A vast plateau of stone rises like a monumental table, its summit stretching wide above the surrounding lowlands. The cliffs fall away in vertical walls, forming natural barriers that isolate the top from the forests and rivers below, giving the mountain an appearance of complete detachment. Covering miles of flat surface, the summit feels like an ancient fragment of land preserved in time, untouched by the movement of the world around it. Geologists trace its origins to nearly 2 billion years ago, when sandstone layers slowly shaped into this singular formation, leaving one of the oldest landscapes on Earth. Indigenous traditions speak of the mountain as sacred, placing it within stories of origins and spirits that emphasize its separation from the ordinary. For European explorers, it was long a place of distant wonder, noted in maps as early as the 16th century, but left unconquered for centuries afterward. The first recorded ascent in the late 19th century finally revealed the summit to science, uncovering unusual plant life and ecosystems adapted only to this isolated plateau. Since then, Mount Roraima has been protected as both a natural treasure and a cultural landmark, drawing travelers and researchers from around the world. It endures as a symbol of remoteness and mystery, where ancient geology, human legend, and scientific discovery quietly converge.